lagging behind, and I guess the last several meetings have been the same song, and a lot of that is due to the gap and delay there in getting started. So um, the work that has been done in the last several months, progress has been very good. So the schedule, I don't have it attached. It's the same schedule was submitted. It's a general overall schedule. Was submitted a couple meetings ago. Still on that schedule. They're still on that schedule. Johnny, what did I believe that schedule had all pipe work, all the main work being done by July, or
I believe that's correct.
so they're still on that schedule. And each progress meeting we talk about the short term schedule and near term schedule. So work completed since the last meeting. They got 428 feet of sewer main installed. They got a couple manholes, number 24 and 31, installed. They had 113 feet of laterals, 15 Y branches, 2 clean outs. There were 242 feet of water services, continued with the well point installation, and put about 161 cubic yards of stone in the roads. So, like I said, it has been good progress the last several months. Work to be completed in the next month. They're going to continue with sewer main installation. I think they're going to end up finishing on Grandview and probably getting to Seneca. And it looks like sometime in the next month, the plumber's going to mobilize in Cooper Circle and start doing water and sewer connections in Cooper Circle. So next agenda item is SRF funding. Not much to report there other than wage rates. Certified payrolls continue to come in. I continue to review them, and there really hasn't been any issues with that. Payments 1 through 6 have been processed, I believe, and paid. I have not received yet a payment number 7 for the last month. DelDOT, there's really no DelDOT items these days because most of the work in Donovan's Road has been completed, and there probably won't be any DelDOT related items until we get to the final paving at the end of the project. Contractors reminded to contact Miss Utilities 48 hours in advance. Notification of residents, and this is probably going to come into play significantly once they start doing the water and sewer services. We want to get 48 hours notice, and we want to keep those people that are going to be affected, keep them up to date as much as possible, give them a advance notice because there will be a short disruption in water and sewer service when they make that connection with the new main. Communication with the residents, no difference here. They're encouraged to bring any issues. I think by now everyone recognizes Dwayne. He's been out there since the job started. If you have any issues whatsoever, please seek out Dwayne and as your first point of contact. I know there's been some disruption in services. I know there's been some water mains that have been damaged during the installation of the sewer main, and that's just really unavoidable. There are no drawings of the existing system, so we really don't know where the existing water lines are running, and that's why there's been several of those disruptions. RFIs, and we work with Teal a lot, they know this. Any RFIs, which is a request for information, needs to come in writing to me, project manager with GMB. Safety, as far as I know, there hasn't been any safety issues, and that's a good thing, and we want to keep it that way for the remainder of the project. But a reminder at every meeting Safety is the sole responsibility of the contractor, and he needs to abide by all safety regulations. Submittals, I believe most of this, if not all, the submittals have been processed. There were some submittals that we got on the water service connections that we've worked through, and all these have been approved. Just a reminder that at the end of the project, we need to do an AIS certification that all materials are American made. And you guys, a stakeout survey, you know, the routine, I believe we've gotten the cut sheets for the entire project, so I don't see a problem there. Job conditions, resident complaints. This is an old one. Complaint was received regarding traffic control at Central Avenue. Central Avenue is kind of a pinch point, and that's why, you know, the traffic issues were kind of highlighted there. Now that we're away from Central Avenue, I don't see that being as big a problem as it has been to date. So that's a good thing. We track the total amount of inspector hours used on the project. We've anticipated a total of about 3,500 hours. We've used 127 hours since the last meeting. Total to date is 772, and 2,728 is what remains. There were no weather delays since the last meeting. Unfortunately, now we're in that time of year. We're going to go into that time of year, or that probably will change. Trench backfill, we are encouraging the contractor to manage the material that comes out of the hole as best as possible. We want to try to minimize the amount of imported material we need. The good news is, so far to date, most of the soils that we're encountering are very good. They're sandy, fairly dry. You notice a big stockpile on site. That's the excess material that is generated once you put the stone and pipe in the ground, and there's a good stockpile of that. Contingency items, these are items that are in the contract and they're to be used if needed. We track those through the whole project. So excavation below subgrade, we have 39 cubic yards to date. We didn't use any since the last meeting. Gravel bedding, 43 cubic yards. We didn't use any of that. So the only contingency item really that we used since the last meeting was the utility crew rate. And we had 1 hour there, and that has a total of 11 and a half hours to date. Red line drawings, we'll mention this every meeting. Johnny's aware of this. We require that the contractor, as the work progresses, to produce what we call red line. It's basically a set of prints where they mark in red any changes that are made during the course of construction. At the end of the job, that becomes the record set for the BPW going forward, so that if there's an issue out there, the men pull those drawings out and they know exactly where everything is. Change orders, there hasn't been any official change orders to date. Contractors all knows that can't proceed with any extra work without getting authorization ahead of time. There has been a change order, a PCO stands for proposed change order, in the amount of $338.10 for some revisions to the water connection work, which primarily relate to providing check valves. Discussion item, the one item I have from the last meeting was impact fees, and I believe the BPW and DENREC have gotten together on that and have a plan in place. So my understanding is that before we start all the water services, all the impact fees will be reimbursed and put into a special account, right, a restricted account. And then the BPW will draw from that account when each service goes in. Do I have that right?
Yeah, I just gotta work with Sean as pay. make sure that, yeah.
So that's the only discussion item I had, but I'm gonna go around the room and see what others have. And I'm gonna start with Ellen Ring. Rob, lost it. Johnny. Dwayne.
When we're working, I understand most of you guys are here, work with me, but there's a lot of people that are not here and they don't move their cars right away. When you see us coming down the road, look days ahead and you can see how fast we're coming to move your cars so we can start work early in the morning. Like I said, you guys have been really great, but other people who do not come, and if you could share with your neighbors, I also appreciate it. Thank you.
You know?
I'm good.
John, we're good. Keith. We'll start on this side and work our way left to right and back.
I'm on Cooper. I was waiting last month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so the discussion about the potential change order for materials is kind of what's held that up. The materials have been ordered. They're supposed to be in next week. So we're hoping that they're gonna be there somewhere the 9th, 10th, 13th, 14th, just depends.
They will give me 2 days notice before they.
Yes, so I will tell Dwayne and he will notify you. But it's
I don't
coming.
care when it's done, just.
Yeah, it's coming.
Having a heads up is fine.
Yeah, I would say it's probably gonna be the week of the 13th when you would see them, but I'll tell Dwayne as soon as the materials come in, I can let him know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have nothing.
I have a couple of questions. One, the Zoom, sometimes I'm trying to get in on Zoom and it says, you know, where it says raise your hand and ask the question, it's not being that we're not able to ask the question. I don't know whether that's.
I've not had, well, so last month, we had an issue with the volume, because I don't think you were able to hear us at all, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then one month, the month before,
Mhm.
a couple of my neighbors called and they said they were trying to ask the question. And they
Sure.
raised their hand and you know, and then it said something about type your question in instead of actually asking the question.
Okay, so they want to do it live, they don't,
Yeah,
okay, okay, we can do that.
And one more thing about the where am I going for a second here? Oh yeah, notification. You were mentioning I will send a notification out. I don't know if you could let me know in like an advance what streets you're going down. You're talking about moving the cars.
Yes.
And I have pretty much all the emails of the people in the community. If you would let me know, and I'll send an email out a couple of days or a few days ahead of time and let the community know to move the car. So we'll do that. And it's just like I got a couple of calls on the fact that people are asking. Sometimes they don't see any work for a couple of weeks. And I actually called you one day and I asked you, you know, what was the situation? Because I think it happened twice this year. They were not in there for a couple of weeks and people were questioning, like, are they quitting or what happened? Did the money run out? Or, you know, you get all these weird questions from people. And then, you know, it was like, and I asked him, he was on vacation. I don't know what it was when they were not there for a couple of weeks.
I can speak to that. It's more about crew availability on our end. So the job is complex and the different types of utilities that are being installed. So where we're not there now, we had our deepest sewer crew in there. That's the guys who are best equipped to go deep. So they got the deep stuff done and I had to take them out of there so they could go to their next job with deep sewer.
Okay.
The guys who are coming in to do some more of the shallow sewer, they're finishing up and just waiting for them to get done where they're at. And then they'll be in there looking like the week of the 13th or even the following week after that. So that's why you see a gap. Same thing with when they were on Cooper, the crews that we had available that were equipped to do that work, they got in, got it done, and then went somewhere else.
Like in June, I think, or sometime in June, they were gone like that. And
Right.
questions as to what was going on.
Yeah, it's all based on our availability with our crews, nothing to do with money, nothing to do with the engineers, just strictly on crew availability.
And one more, I talked to Dwayne this morning, we were talking about notifications as to when, like you say, they don't know where the pipes are. Every now and then you break a water main or something like that, and then sometimes people are not aware of it, and it seems to be there. One lady said she was getting ready to get in the shower and there was no water. And there was any way that you can notify the community, and he was telling me that he notifies the office, am I right?
Yes, sir.
And the office is in turn supposed to notify us?
Yes.
Okay, because sometimes that's not happening, and people are kind of like stranded with no water.
So I mean, I would say moving forward, when we're installing sewer, if you see us digging, there's a potential for us to hit a water line.
Okay.
Because there's no plan out there that shows where the water is run. So unfortunately, it's just one of those things that we don't know if we're gonna hit it, when we're gonna hit it.
So I should maybe talk to management and see if they could, when you notify them that you hit a water main, they could be more agreeable to notify us. 'Cause-
Yeah, well, so when we hit a water main, the first thing we have to do is notify them so they can shut their system down. We're not allowed to shut their system down. So they probably, panic and say, we got to shut the system down first before we notify anybody. So if that guy's not on site, the first thing he has to do is get on site and shut it down. So that's probably where, the lapse in notifying you guys, everybody wants to get the water shut off so we can fix it as quickly as possible.
Johnny, I just realized that in the next month, we have the Thanksgiving holiday. So what's the plan for Thanksgiving?
So for Thanksgiving, that's on the 23rd. We will not be working obviously on Thanksgiving, and then we will not be working on the 24th. And then just moving forward while I'm looking at it, in December, we will not be on site during the December holiday. So we have a company shutdown. I believe it's the 21st is our last day, and we don't come back till January 2nd. So we won't be disrupting anybody during the holidays.
Thanks. Anyone have any other questions?
Well, pretty much the common sense, when the water breaks, which it did numerous times in Cooper, when it breaks and you don't have water, there's a notice. I don't want the office to call me and say it's off. Well, I already know it's off.
Right.
My notice is, okay, run the hose when it gets hooked back up, so I don't get the mud in my tank.
So the next progress meeting will be December 6th. First Wednesday of each month, and next month happens to be December 6th. So see you all then. Thank you.